Welcome back to Marvel Maniac, an MCU after show. I'm your host, Eric Sequeira, aka Mr. Honest, back with you for another short episode, yet powerful in the way that we're going to look at everything coming up in the year 2026, MCU related or adjacent. That means a couple of the animated series that aren't technically a part of the sacred timeline, you might call it, but they do exist in the multiverse, and this is the multiverse saga. Some we will cover, some we'll discuss covering, and most of all, we'll hype over all of it. This is going to be one of my shorter episodes of the year, and as you can see, we've been posting some short ones. I've been a little bit busy. Long story short, tooth pain issues. I wish I had just a superhero mouth where all my teeth issues were heroically turned. My vibranium teeth, anyone? What if I accidentally bit my tongue and my tongue will come straight off? Okay, well, we won't get too far into that. That would be terrifying. What would they call me? The vibranium chomper? V-chomp? Mr. Honest Teeth. Okay, that's it. that's my speculation for what that show would look like. Let's get into the real lineup. We have Wonder Man coming out on January 27th, 26th. Daredevil Born Again, Season 2, around March 4th, 2026. The Punisher, his special movie / mini-sode. I have the title War Journal, which came up online somewhere. Spring 2026, we're slated right now. X-Men 97, Season 2. We haven't covered even Season 1. We'll talk about that when we come back to it in summer. Spider-Man Brand New Day, probably the most anticipated before December's Doomsday, which will be out on or around July 31st. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Season 2. If you remember, I loved this show. I thought it was a lot of fun. It does take place in a very MCU-adjacent world, except instead of befriending Peter, it's Norman Osborn instead of Tony Stark. So, interesting. Fall 2026, we're looking at that. VisionQuest. This is a big one. This is the one they're saying the main story on the Disney Plus shows is going to end with VisionQuest. So we're not going to get too many more big, iconic Loki level, you have to watch just to watch the MCU show. This is the last one that will tie into movies, apparently. And then, finally, the one we're all waiting for is Avengers Doomsday, December 18th, 2026. Let's go into these a little bit, talk about them, what I'm expecting, and just a little bit of a cool episode, getting a little hyped on what we got coming up this year. Even though it's only 2 movies, these shows do fill out the slate. And I'd say it's a pretty great slate. Let's start with Wonder Man, January 27th, 2026. We got wildcard energy on this one. Hollywood actor in the MCU, Simon Williams, is thrust into the world of superheroes as he gets powers of his own and becomes the new superhero, Wonder Man. This is kind of like a meta show where Hollywood meets Marvel meets Hollywood meets Marvel. It's a little bit of a paradox, and it's about a TV show called Wonder Man, and then an actor who's going to try and play that character will actually become that character in real life. I think it's a fun concept. This is the most wild card of the bunch just because it's something brand new. We don't know much about any of the characters except for one definitive character that I'm sure everyone who's going to watch this, all 8 episodes of this show, I believe week to week, Trevor Slattery's returning, played by Ben Kingsley. If you don't remember Trevor, he was the original Mandarin. We find out he's just an actor called Trevor. But he was pretty dang intimidating as the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. That's where he was introduced. He also returns in Shang-Chi. The real Mandarin, Shang-Chi's dad, keeps Trevor Slattery as a jester type. And he has his little pet called Morris. And it's cute. He's from the dimension that Shang-Chi is kind of born out of. I have to refresh my Shang-Chi. See, they need to make a sequel by now. Considering it's the last news show, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. If you haven't seen the trailer for it, I'd look it up. Just Wonder Man 2026. First thing we're getting in January, and I hope it's week to week, because if it's not, I don't like covering shows that drop all their episodes at once. It's nice to watch one week and then the story sinks in a little bit better. We'll see where that goes. I think from the trailer, this looks promising, lighthearted and fun. and I will be covering it week to week. So be ready for that on our next big coverage of what's coming out in the MCU. So after Wonder Man, we have to look forward to not long after Daredevil Born Again Season 2 on March 4th, 2026. This is a real return. It's a tone stabilizer for the street-level MCU. It could quietly be one of Marvel's biggest hits of the year, to be honest. The first season went over really well. There were some critiques on it. That's why because they had different writers for certain episodes, and they had a whole different team come and kind of overhaul the first season. And it seems that the overhauled stuff was typically loved by the fans. I like the whole series / show. And I was going to try, and if you're a long-term listener, even a recent listener, I've been trying to figure out how to cover all the Netflix shows because I keep falling into a rabbit hole of this is too long, this is not enough, and I'm still trying to figure out how to get you guys a definitive breakdown on a lot of the Netflix lore and heroes, so you're ready for this Daredevil Born Again Season 2. You have a refresher, you get to know the characters a little bit. I'm not promising anything, but an idea I have is a big kind of New Year's coverage of all of the Netflix CU, but it's now part of the MCU. And I'm really excited for what Daredevil Born Again Season 2 comes. If we have covered Season 1 of this show, it is back in the catalog a bit, but go check it out. I had a lot of fun covering it, and it was a great time to watch. Daredevil is one of the best, if not the best, MCU TV shows, period. So I'm sure plenty of you are looking forward to that as well. And we can expect Defenders references from the Netflix show. We can expect an actual setup to Spider-Man Brand New Day coming out in July. And I don't know if we're going to get some setup for the Punisher working title War Journal in spring 2026, because that's what we have next in that slate. I believe this one is just estimated time of when this is going to come out. A dark kind of mini movie about Frank Castle showing up and doing his own thing in the MCU. It's very gory, very interesting, and very fun. I've only seen season 1 of The Punisher from Netflix, so I'm going to try and watch season 2 before we get to this mini movie. However, I'm not sure if he'll be involved in Born Again going into this special, setting his story up a little bit more. He seems to escape from where we left him. Escape Kingpin's dungeon of people. I'm gonna guess, and I'm gonna just take a guess that he's not really gonna have a big part to play in Born Again Season 2, but maybe it will set up this spring 2026, ideally, Punisher War Journal working title. I think it's going to be fun. I like the Punisher. I'm very curious how he'll do in Spider-Man. And yeah, we'll see what Frank Castle has. John Barenthal, his name. I always knew him from The Walking Dead, and the Punisher is the greatest role for him. He plays him so well, and that's really my favorite Punisher. I know there's a movie. I didn't really watch it since I was a kid, so I can't say this one's better, but I can say people like this one more than that. It's just a little more in tune with the comics, is what I've heard. Next up, we have X-Men 97 Season 2, estimated to be somewhere around summer of 26. This is a hype machine, this series. And I will say I watched the first season, and I did watch the entire series leading up to the season. This was about a year ago, though. So I am a little bit personally confused on how to cover this. If I cover it without going over season 1, I guess the people who already watched season 1 could chime in and kind of fill in the slates themselves. But if there's some people coming in just watching season 2, I'd be curious if I need to come up with a big recap episode for all of it. I would like to do that. There's a chance I will. There's a chance I might just cover season 2 and reference the old show while I am cover the old show and season 1 while I'm talking about X-Men 97 season 2 references and whatnot. This show is probably the furthest stretched out of the current MCU multiverse timeline. But that being said, it's one of the fans' most favorite shows that come out of Disney. I think Disney's got something special with their animated department. and I think they should keep going and making different multiversal hero shows just to get more out of the heroes, or like what they did with 97. They picked up the old show that was in the 90s and they continued the story, which is very intriguing, and they made a killer season 1. If you have not seen it, let me just recommend just go watch that. If you haven't seen it yet, you'll thank me later for that, and we'll see how we end up covering this show. After that, we have the big one, Spider-Man Brand New Day, July 31st, 2026. My dates are all sourced from this like JPEG of all the things coming out, so forgive me for not finding the name of that source. I might be wrong on the dates, but it's somewhere around this point, if anything. Definitely July. Brand New Day is going to be huge. It's going to bring all together the Daredevil story, in my opinion. They say the Punisher and Hulk are going to be in it. I don't know if that's true about the Hulk. I do know the Punisher for sure has been in talks for a long time. So it's interesting to see what kind of arc we'll see the Punisher take from Daredevil's Born Again Season 2 to his War Journal, again, working title, in spring, and then him coming in to help Spidey somewhere in summer 2026. And, it's just going to be very interesting to see how the Punisher can interact with Spider-Man. I think it's going to be really fun. It's one of those, wow, I really can't imagine that type scenarios to where I'm like, I really want to see that. I hope that that's the only person they're revealing is Punisher, but in reality, I would just love if they were fighting Kingpin as one of, if not the main bad, and that Daredevil and the Defenders get involved with Spider-Man, as Spider-Man forms his own little street Avengers. I almost said Revengers. And that would be really awesome. Honestly, if they even brought just Daredevil, I'd be happy. But I think it'd be very cool if he did a little Defenders. Like the Defenders is maybe what he'll form in that movie again, because they came together in their own Netflix show. Again, we'll cover that if and when we can. There's also so many other stories and series I want to cover, like including the original Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man. Those movies I wanted to cover, because I do think we will be seeing those guys again. However, we got to talk about what's on the actual slate and how to get ready for that. Brand New Day is in my opinion, it's going to be the brand new trilogy of Spider-Man movies. I think we're going to see at least 3 more Spider-Men. I think that's not counting the Avengers. And I honestly think that this is going to be a new Peter Parker. Same character, matured, battle worn, mentally tarnished a bit because of all he's lost and been through. It's a lot. So that goes right into your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man Season 2 coming in fall 2026. If you remember, I loved the first season of this show. Norman Osborn is Peter's mentor off the bat. Tony Stark and Captain America, they're having like a civil war in the background of this show, and it's following a little bit of the background of what could have been happening during all that if Spider-Man wasn't a part of the Avengers. He really wasn't, but that was his entrance into the movies. A little tiny bit of a shift in the timeline, and you get this show. And I found it a lot of fun. We covered it week to week. I think they released a few episodes at a time, from what I remember of last year or earlier this year when we covered it. But we did cover the whole season 1. So if you're watching that, you could listen to the podcast as a companion piece, or just go listen to an episode or two whenever you're done watching that one. So I got high hopes for both Spider-Man projects. I don't know when the Spider-Verse is coming back, but we'll talk about that whenever that is decided. This is all about 2026. We don't have much left. We got VisionQuest later in 2026. Very, very secretive, it seems to be, what the story is going to be. I think a lot of people have theorized that VisionQuest is going to contain a lot of the WandaVision / Agatha All Along story with Billy and Tommy and the family of Wanda. They say she can't come back. Personally, I'm going to be honest, I don't think Wanda will return in this show, but I do think the fallout of everything that's happened with Wanda and Agatha will culminate in VisionQuest. And like I said earlier when introducing it, this will be one of the few shows that is relevant to the movies, which does go back and make Wonder Man and Daredevil pretty much relevant to the movies. That's a big statement for them to have made. So I love Vision. It's been too long. White Vision started off at the very beginning of Phase 4 in WandaVision, and we're going to finally maybe get caught up on what he's been doing, where he's been. Was it outer space? Has he been sitting in a bunker thinking over his life choices? What in the world is going on with Vision? Is he going to get his family back together? If so, how? Lots of questions, lots of curiosity. I'm excited for the trailer to drop on that one. And finally, the big hitter, the one everyone's been waiting for, the one we don't want to move too fast towards because it's still a year away, but in all reality, it is coming like a freight train at the same time. Avengers Doomsday, December 18th, 2026. This is the event, the movie of the year. There's not been an Avengers movie since 2019. So yeah, we got a little bit of time in between the Avengers. This is Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Dr. Doom. I think there's a lot of secrets and a lot of things we can theorize about this. We probably will make many more episodes about this movie going forward, so I won't get too into theories right now. All I'll say is it's the big one, and it's going to be epic no matter what way you look at it. Some people will love it. Some people will hate it. Some people will say this is the end of the MCU. Some people will say this is the brand new birth of the MCU. Some people will diss on Doom. Some people will love Dr. Doom. I mean, we got all sorts of fans, and it's not going to be pretty, I don't think. I think it's going to be a war. A secret war. That's the following year. Anyway, I just wanted to run through the list. That's all we got for today, and I think it's a pretty fun slate. I think they're pretty well timed out to where we got a kind of constant flow given a week or two of Marvel events, and it's not crowded. This road is not crowded. It's curated. Every project is a stepping stone, each one tightening the spring for Doomsday. The closer we get, the louder the quiet feels. And that's where the hype really lives. If you're as excited about me as these projects, I want to know your thoughts. MarvelManiacPod@gmail.com. We need your help. We need you to subscribe, but not only subscribe, rate, and give us a comment on the iTunes section of our show. We need more ratings. We want to get into the algorithm, and that's the way to do it. So if you can just do me a favor, give us a rating, leave us a nice little review. It goes the longest way. Even on other platforms, it goes the longest way. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/Marvel Maniac. We post mini-sodes every Saturday at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m., if that matters to you, Central Time. And yeah, I love the Patreon. I think it's a place you should come. Even if you are not subscribed or want to pay money, you can be a free user and listen to older, unvaulted episodes weekly of our minisodes. We got a lot of minisodes, and we do one once a week. I said that, but this is my most riffy episode in a while. Older listeners might notice I'm a little more ranty today. And all of a sudden, 18 minutes went by. I thought this was going to take me 7 minutes. But that just means I'm excited for what's to come. We'll see. For coming up with Wonder Man, I love a new hero. I don't think we're going to get many more. At least, I think this is the last new hero in a while. I read a rumored article that She-Hulk is just completely gone. They're going to cut her from the slate. No TV show, no movie, over. Jeez. I mean, I like She-Hulk. If you go back and listen to my crappy coverage of it, it's just crappy because my mic was bad. It was a weird time, but I liked the show when it was coming out. I had fun with it. I looked past the CGI laziness. Sorry, I call it laziness, but it is, because that's a big thing for people. They got to be drawn in. They can't be thinking, CGI all the time. So that's my one critique of that show. I hope she actually does make a comeback. And that's all I got. Until next week, Avengers, disassemble.